Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Malbeefance channel. This is episode 8 of our series replay for Strategic Command World War II, War in the Pacific, where I'm playing the Allies for the first time all the way through. Before I get started into the turn, there's a couple of things that I wanted to go over real quickly. In the previous episode, I had mentioned that Saburo Sakai was Japan's top World War II air ace. And with some input from you folks and a little bit more research on my part, I found out this is incorrect, okay? Or at least it looks incorrect. And I'll elaborate on that. Now, I remember reading like 50 years ago or more is when I read about Saburo Sakai, and I just remembered him. And apparently, um, Hiroyoshi Nishizawa is credited as being the highest scoring air ace of the Japanese during World War II. At least that seems to be the general acceptance. Now, going back to it, digging in deeper over the last couple of days, and what I discovered is there are some discrepancies. In general, it is accepted that Nishizawa actually has the highest kill count. It's over 100. I think it's like 106, if I remember correctly. The problem where the um, I don't want to say controversy because it's really not controversy. Where the issue of discrepancy comes in is when you get past about 52 to 56 air victories for each of these Japanese pilots, we start losing confirmation. Pretty much after 1942, after 1943, confirmation of air kills gets a little sketchy. Okay. I can't tell you why that is. I don't know if it has to do with record keeping. I don't know if it has to do with destruction of wartime records at the end of the war. Um, I don't know. All I know is that there are discrepancies out there. If you go ahead and you look at Saburo Sakai's kill count, his confirmations, actual confirmed kills, only take him up into the 30s, and yet history records him as having more than 50 kills. And then there's my memory, which is definitely subject to question, because we're talking about information that I studied a half a century ago. Okay, yes, I am that old. Um, so, anyways, there's that. So I apologize for any confusion there. Okay. Um, and it really had more to do with my poor memory than it does with the actual uh, discrepancies going on in the historical record. Okay. So then the second thing that I wanted to bring up is that in case you didn't know about it, and this is a little bit of old news, um, the the DLC expansion, whatever you want to call it, for Strategic Command American Civil War called Congress of Europe is now out. And I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. I've only been able to look at it slightly. I haven't been able to do any real deep dive into it. But it looks to me like what you've got is a number of scenarios that center around the 1800s in Europe. You've got the Russo Ottoman Empire War, you've got the Crimean War, Prussian Austrian conflict. Um, so a few other things. The Italian War Unification. Okay, those are in there. So I don't know. I couldn't find out if there was a campaign game in there anywhere. I think it's just scenarios where you're reenacting these conflicts and seeing if you can do better than historical, okay, or do something different. So, but it is a expansion for American Civil War, um, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention in case you didn't already know. Okay, and then the third thing, now we leave Strategic Command, we leave Matrix Games, and we go over to Creative Artists, and they have just recently announced that Total War Medieval 3 is in the making. It is in, now this one I did do a little bit of work trying to learn more about it, and what I've learned is that it is in the early, I mean the earliest stages of development. Okay, so picture in your mind what you think early stage development of a computer game is, and then go even earlier than that, and that's where they're at. Okay, this is pre-alpha. Okay, I heard one guy call it, they called it pre-alpha alpha development, and I thought, yeah, that's pretty. So they what you can find online is basically just the commercial introducing it. If you try digging into what is being developed, how the game is going to be uh, organized, if you will, how it's going to be programmed, that sort of thing. Obviously, we're going to have modern graphics, and it looks to me like they're building a whole new engine to run the game on, which, in my opinion, is a good idea. I've been a fan of the Total War series since the original Shogun Total War, and I mean, obviously, I've got my favorites, and I've got my not so favorites, like anybody else who has been following the Total War series, and I'm just really happy that they are going to go with doing a new engine now. I hope that this is, and apparently it looks like it's going to be an in-house. They're not going to be taking an existing engine out there, like like what am I thinking of? Oh, nuts! Now I can't remember the name. But they're not going to be taking a existing engine that they haven't used before and incorporating that. It looks like they're building a whole new engine from the ground up. Okay, and like I think that's really cool because if you go ahead and you look at, I know there's a lot of people out there that do not like Total War Empire. I'm not talking about the game itself. I'm talking about the graphics, specifically the ocean graphics when you're in the naval battles. The graphics for ocean movement and how it looks and everything is I thought that was really awesome when it first came out. It just blew my mind, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so if they could do something like that back then, imagine what they can do with the graphics today. Okay, so I am looking forward to this. However, with the game in such early development, um, I don't expect to see the game in any playable form, like a demo or anything like that, until maybe summer or autumn of next year, maybe even as late as this time next year. I don't expect the game to be going live until possibly December 2026 or sometime in 2027. Okay, so anyways, there's the bookkeeping things that I wanted to go over. Let's go ahead and hit the turn now, advance it, and see what we get. So I'm running a little late on getting turns out. I apologize for that. It's been a rough couple of weeks. Just not enough people to go around at work, and so I've had to do extra hours. So Churchill accuses Gandhi of being in the service of Japan. In a backhanded sort of way, yeah, he is. Not intentionally, maybe. TV star Eddie Albert enlists in the United States Coast Guard. I don't know if any of you folks will be old enough to know who Eddie Albert is. Um, his, at least in my time, his greatest claim to fame was Green Acres television show, a comedy called Green Acres. But he's done a lot more than that. Okay, United States develops naval warfare level 1. Yes, we need that. We need that. USR develops logistics level 1. And there is our ledger for the up and coming turn. I was about to say rap sheet. I have no idea where that came from. So I'm still learning the sound system here. the reason that that is an issue, well, they are really going after them. Okay, so we knew they had a couple of carriers down here, so there's two. The Battle of Milne Bay continues. Ow. I knew we were going to take some lumps here, but ooh, nuts, Yamato. That was brought to my attention that I need to increase the land-based air in and around the Coral Sea, and obviously that is a correct assessment. I just haven't done it till now because I've been working on the land forces. Okay, so that's probably going to be our third carrier. All right, so the light cruiser survives, at least for now. If it makes it to my turn, I'll go ahead and get him out of there and get him down south to a Australian port for repairs. All right, so we got a little bit of a push in mainland China. Doesn't seem to be a lot going on down in Burma at the moment. Now the Japanese ought to be able to go ahead and get a more organized, or I should say a more focused defense going on in southern China now that Fuzhou has fallen. And I don't like the situation here where the communist Chinese are holding the line. They're just a little bit outnumbered. All right, partisan activity in China. Allied raiders disrupting Burma-Japan convoy. All right, and that's going to do it for the Axis side. All right, so they got the Oklahoma and the Vincennes. There's our activity summary. So, Corps spotted in Rangoon. Anything else? Nope. The British destroyer, the Hotspur, joins the fleet. 6th Marine Division is now available, but they got to get upgraded. And the U.S. destroyer Pringle. I don't believe the chips were named after the destroyer. Quick Match destroyer for Australia. All of these vessels are going to need some upgrading. Okay, so the Japanese destroyer that was down here in the Tasmanian Sea has gone north, possibly for resupply, maybe just for survival, because they were aware that we were hunting them, possibly. And so, all right, so the K-17 found them. Thank you. Not a whole lot I can do about it. My destroyers have already moved. All right, so before we get into the Battle of Milne Bay, let me go ahead and work with the American West Coast. Getting back to what I was saying about the sound system, the reason that there is some experimentation still going on my side is because what I hear in my playback, when I finish doing an episode and I go ahead and I play the file, what I'm hearing is different in volume. The volume is different from what I hear in the playback and then what I hear after I post the video to YouTube. So that's the problem that's going on, and so I've been forced to experiment with different setups on the sound system in order to try and get it right when it finally hits YouTube. If anybody's got any pointers out there, I'm happy to listen. All right, so that should get New Mexico up to speed. All right, she'll be able to deploy next turn. I believe that is, yep, that's Nevada. She's ready. All right, anybody else back over this way that I missed? Nope. All right, so moving on to the islands. I'm going to go ahead and improve their port capacity. I may end up never using it, but you never know. So now, unfortunately, the American carriers are delayed while I upgrade their aircraft. Now, who do we have here? Okay, that is 3rd Marine Division. Oh, contact. Destroyer and a cruiser. Nuts. So who is that? That's the Tone, and we don't know who the destroyer is. Oh, who we got here? Haruna. All right, so that's 2 Japanese battleships. Unfortunately, I have exposed all of those vessels. So that gets us that cruiser. Second Marine Air Wing is pretty much holding the line for the entire land-based air war. Let's see if we can find somebody. Yep. Who we got here? The Kirishima. Unfortunately, we were not able to do any damage. Can we finish her off? Maybe. Ah, nuts. She retreated to port. Okay, so that sinks the Tenakaze. Very helpful. And that gets us the Tone. All right, not bad. 1 battleship, 2 cruisers, a destroyer. However, we have lost a battleship and a heavy cruiser. I'm going to take a chance to have the light cruiser try and cover further West Virginia. Who is that? Marblehead. All right, so now I got to get help out there to New Guinea. But it's got to get past that destroyer. Or excuse me, the submarine. What am I saying? Now, do I want to put MacArthur on New Guinea? Where's my other general? I thought I was working him out this way. There he is. All right, so Egbert's closer. Do I have a space for him? Not really. And if I put him, it doesn't matter whether I put him in this hex or this hex, he's going to be exposed to attack by infantry, so maybe better just to wait. And I got to start getting these folks on the transports to send to New Guinea. All right, not a wise idea to go after the destroyer. So let's just go ahead and get him out of there. Get him in a position where he can help defend these forces. All right, I think that's going to do it for naval operations in and around Australia. All right, now, does any of the rest of... Yep, there we go. All right, I got no information about what's going on here in Indonesia, but the British Navy is in a decent spot to disrupt whatever's going on. Now, we've only got the one carrier, and I've got him set on fighter mode. Okay. I'd like to try and sneak him down there if I can. Do I want to shell Singapore or not? Well, let's give it a try and see what happens. All right, so we know they only got a garrison. All right, so that's going to take care of naval operations for the moment. Let's go ahead and upgrade my Chinese defenders over here in Burma. All right, so we'll just hold the line for the moment. See if I can't get some more forces over there. might be his upgrade. Is that anti-aircraft? Yes, it is. Looks like all of them. Both the communist and the nationalist forces. All right, you need to hurry up. Question is, where's the best place to put him? That is a tough call. He's not on a rail line yet. All right, so I'll go ahead and I'll try and get him into this general area. But the Chinese forces can do a big update. Some of them have already upgraded their weapons. So that, excuse me, that infantry level 1 is huge for the Chinese, at least in my opinion. And that's it. We're out of money for the nationalist Chinese. All right, pull you back a little. I'm not sure if he's, there we go. Okay, now I know all of them are within his zone of coordination, if you will. Nothing I can do about that. See if you can fill in some of the gaps. All right, so I guess that's going to do it for China. And I don't think there's anything I want to do for the Soviet Union. At least not moving units. All right, so that is going to do it, almost. What do I want to do with you? Either fleet can use the help. Let's just go ahead and kind of use you for spotting at the moment. Or scouting, I mean. All right. So that is going to take us to research. I got to get everybody on level 2 infantry weapons as quickly as possible. All right, so with the exception of the 2 Chinese factions, everybody is working it. So I got nothing left for the UK. America's got a bunch left. So command and control, that's only going to leave 88. So I could do submarine warfare. I don't really need anti-tank weapons for the Americans. All right. Improve Russian industrial technology. That way they're sending more resources to the communist Chinese. Nationalist Chinese don't have any points left. I blew them all. Communist Chinese don't have enough for anything. So we'll bank that. And the Australians keep pushing their industrial technology. So I am really focused on industrial technology for all of the Allied forces because if you didn't notice in the first turn, and I did mention it, I think maybe in the second episode, the I've given the Japanese an advantage in production points. They've got, I think it's like plus 20% production in order to help try and balance things out a little bit more. And so I'm expecting to see a lot more Japanese forces in the field than what I had available when I did the playthrough. And so, in order to try and counter that, what I'm doing is I'm putting a lot of focus, a lot of R&D focus into improving the production capabilities of the Allies. All right, so that is going to do it for this turn. Let's go ahead and advance a turn, see what we get. U.S. develops logistics level 2. That helps with resupply. USSR develops artillery weapons level 1. China develops logistics level 1. Now that's a huge help. Australia develops amphibious warfare level 1. That's going to be helpful. Australia develops logistics level 2. Again, that is resupply. There is our ledger for next turn. So, and you can see the payouts. All right, so like 82 coming from America to Australia, but then Australia is given 26 over to the British Empire. So anybody wants to look at this in detail, you can pause here. Emperor of Manchukuo's armed forces deploy a cavalry division. Helpful, not great, but helpful. And cavalry in World War II, come on. All right, so we got a carrier off of the Chinese coast. There's 2 carriers there off of New Britain. Three carriers. And that submarine has definitely got them spooked, putting that much effort into it. Hopefully, expending that much effort on that submarine, they won't have enough to follow up on my surface forces. I spoke too soon. Of course, exposing that battleship, not the greatest maneuver. I kind of figured in the early stages of the game I would have to whittle down the Japanese Navy. I wouldn't be able to just, I wouldn't have a big enough force to just go in and have one massive, major conflict to decide the naval war in the Pacific. But it looks like we have a better defense of New Guinea now. So I can get a few more troops up in there, giving me some space. Not a lot going on mainland China, I'm happy to say. I got to complete the upgrade of both the nationalist and communist Chinese forces. Quit India movement causes unrest. This is going to hurt British production. Communist partisan activity in China, thank you very much. Allied raiders disrupting Burma. That's the RN in the Malaccan Straits. What do we got here? African Americans launch the Double V campaign for victory over fascism and against discrimination. Cesar Romero enlists in the United States Coast Guard. Cesar Romero was an absolutely phenomenal actor. Most people remember him for his portrayal as the Joker in the 1960s Batman series. Okay, there is our activity summary. And now the garrisons that I've got to help stifle the Quit India movement. All right, I know I need somebody in Delhi, but I can't deploy directly there. All right, before I place the rest of those, where do I need them? Okay, up here, down in Karachi. Where else? Calcutta. I put somebody in Bombay. Okay, so I do need somebody in Madras. All right. Start south, work my way north. U.S. 7th Marine Division. And Chinese, what is that? 131st Corps. Good. I need him up here. How close can I get him? All right. So that's going to do it for announcements and reinforcements. So once again, let's start with the American West Coast. Update whoever I can. Upgrade whoever I can. Get New Mexico underway. And now the South Dakota. Who is that? Taylor, the destroyer Taylor. Can I get one of the Marines? Yep. All right, so now that I'm able to get the carriers back out onto the water, I'd like to go ahead and start getting the Guadalcanal forces out onto the water. But it might be smart to wait one more turn. Because in order to get the carriers into the battlefield, I have to cruise them. And if I do that, then I may wind up putting them in harm's way unnecessarily before I'm actually ready for it. So we'll go ahead. So who is that? Okay, so Enterprise and Hornet are ready to move into the battlefield, and we'll give Saratoga a turn to catch up. In the meantime, we'll pick off what we can. So catch a lot, gets Kirishima. Awesome. Houston dukes it out with the Ashigara. Get the heck out of there. All right, and the Australian cruiser Australia finishes off the Japanese heavy cruiser Ashigara. I do not wish to go hunting at the moment. Go ahead and pull our naval forces back for the moment. What's his supply? 6. All right, I'll pull him in to get resupplied. Oh, he's got to upgrade. Okay. All right. Anything we want to do up here in Milne Bay? I want to get that my submarine out of there, get them repaired. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so the Hatsuyuki is sunk. That means I can get my submarine out of there. Marblehead go after Abakuma there. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, we found the submarine. Oops. Do I have? Yes, there they are. That way they're covering each other. And we're doing a pretty good job of getting all of these capital ships, with the exception of the carriers. But carriers are not really good out in the water by themselves. So I don't see the computer bringing the carriers down into the Coral Sea unescorted. Now, having said that, I can see the computer doing something silly like that now that I've said it. Now, with that many destroyers coming after that one submarine, I think the computer might think twice before sending a submarine down in here again. Can he make it? Yes, he can. Okay, good. That means I can get both battleships in port so that they can repair and resupply. Oh, okay. Was not expecting that. All right, let me leave him there for the moment. I mean, it's not like I can move him anywhere. I don't want to move there. That's not a good idea. Supply issue. They could go ahead and they could move some. I don't know what they've got here. I mean, I know there's a headquarters back here somewhere, but if they've got a third infantry unit, they can go ahead and they can pinch these guys off if I move them there. Oh, excuse me. Old man problems. All right, any other ships? Yes. Nevada. Go ahead and get caught up. That way she can resupply off of that port while she's sitting next to it. All right. I think that is going to do it for U.S. naval operations and Australian naval operations. So for the moment, I'm just going to use the Dutch light cruiser to go ahead and do a little scouting around here in case the computer tries a move like I did with the amphibious invasion at Darwin. Now, moving on to the Royal Navy. We didn't get any kind of a response here. Oh, I spoke too soon again. Now, I don't want to give away the presence of the carrier, so I'm not going to use the carrier to attack the destroyer. I mean, it's possible that the Japanese already know it's there, but obviously the computer knows it's there, but is it able to act on that information as the Japanese player? Alright, so that managed to bag us another Japanese destroyer. Good stuff. Every little bit helps. I can't move that garrison into Delhi just yet. What's his coverage? So he's not covering these guys, and he's not covering the fighters, so I may have to rearrange them a little bit. All right, now I wound up spending all of China's points in the south last turn, so let me not do that again. As much as I would like to take advantage of those odds, that winds up opening up the city for counterattack. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to play cautious here in mainland China for a little bit longer. Oh, wait. So for those of you that might not be aware, when you've got one of your units adjacent to an enemy unit, okay, now actual enemy, if the two sides are neutral, they're not at war with one another, you can still do upgrades. But if you've got one of your units, they're adjacent to an active enemy unit, then you cannot do an upgrade. But if you do that little switch, basically what you're doing is you're holding down the shift key and moving one unit, and basically it's swapping position with the other unit, as you saw. If you do that, you can still upgrade or reinforce both units involved. So obviously the upgrades went to the 120th Corps, because now they are no longer adjacent to Japan's 1st Cavalry Division. Okay, and then you can reinforce a unit if they're adjacent to an enemy unit, as you may have already figured out. And so that's what I did with, what is that, 23rd Corps? Yep, 123rd Corps. So just little game mechanics there for you, in case you didn't already know. Whoops. All right, and that burns out China's points again. Oh, nice. Oh, he's not close enough. I should have put him in. Should have put him down here. There we go. That'll put a little bit of a dent in their offensive. All right, so they're going to finish their fortifications on December 24th. I can get him a little closer. Actually, put him there, because he's got the river to help with defense. Because it looks like they're pushing these guys up this way, try and outflank me. All right, anybody else? Yep, cavalry. What do I want to do with him? Probably be a good idea to send him a little bit further north. Who knows? Maybe you can get around the mountains and attack the air units. All right, so I think that's going to do it for mainland China. Yep. They're just light tanks. I don't think they can really do anything. And I need a garrison out there anyway, so. All right, now I know I'm not going to move any of the Russian units. So I think that's pretty much going to do it for movement and combat this turn. All right, so back to research. All right, do we have enough? Nope, Communist China can't do it. I spent all of Nationalist China. All right, I got to start. I got to start saving money for them because they got to get started on weapons level 2. I know the computer is already doing weapons level 2 for the Japanese. It'd be crazy not to. All right, Australia's got level 2 going. So let's get their infantry warfare started. That'll help them out in the battlefield. So they only got 29 left, nothing they can do with that. I spent all of National China. We'll bank Communist China so they can get started on their weapons tech next turn. All right, the Russians. They're up to 189. Already working on command and control. I can double that up. Advanced tanks. Oh, they've already got level 2. Longer range aircraft. So I'm not going to spend on Russian naval R&D because I really don't think I'm going to need them to help with the naval war. But there we go, mobility. All right, going back to the U.S. Now I could overspend in logistics and production, but we got to get some stuff started over here. Advanced submarines, definitely, and artillery weapons. Do I have enough? Yes, I do. Now, a question was asked some time back about the my use of artillery, and I admit in this particular game I haven't been focusing on it. But please, I would like to remind everybody that I've played the Japanese all the way through. I think a total of twice, and I've played the Americans. This is my first time playing them all the way through. I've done a couple of games where I've played like maybe the first half dozen turns in order to get the feel of it. This is my first time actually playing them all the way through. And what I've discovered, at least my experience, has been that artillery, because of the amount of effort that needs to be put into R&D, and because of how limited the amount of artillery units that can be deployed, artillery doesn't help a whole lot. And there's limited space if you're doing an island campaign. Now, if I could get more artillery in mainland China and in Southeast Asia, then yeah, I think it would do more. But right now, I'm not finding it as useful as it normally is in the other strategic command games. So, I mean, I may be wrong. It might be just simply my lack of experience with this particular version of the game. So, all right, so what do I got left? I got 105 that I can use before I hit my max. I don't think anybody. So, like I said, I really don't see a use for anti-tank weapons for the Americans. Not with the island campaign. I mean, maybe later if we actually get to invading the Japanese home islands, we'll see how that develops. Advanced tanks are 150. So I would like to put more in there. But it's got to be 105 or lower, so it's none of these guys except anti-tank weapons. And these two are already maxed out. Okay, so that's going to do it for R&D for the U.S. for a moment. Okay, so they got infantry weapons going. Production technology is way down. So let's do that. Leaves me with 35. Naval construction's about to roll over. So there we go. All right, so the Americans have got a little bit left over. They might be able to buy something. So the one airship I can use for scouting. All right, so let's try increasing air power. And we'll go ahead and we'll purchase that one air unit. So let me show you something real quick. So here is America's production. Okay, and I have not purchased any of these ships. They were scripted in. They're already being built. This is meant to represent the two ocean navy law that went into effect historically. So all I've got that I purchased is the tanks, the anti-air, and now the maritime bombers. So that's the reason why I was working or focusing so much on ground units, because there weren't any that were in the mix for the Americans. Okay, and now that I've got a lot of Marine Corps units coming out, and I've got the small handful of scripted American ground units are now out on the board, I can start working on air power, which I do need to be doing. Okay, so just to see, the Communist Chinese could reconstitute that garrison. But like I said, I want to save their money so that I can get them on level 2 weapons. All right. That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you made it this far, please remember to do all that YouTube stuff, subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment. It helps grow the channel. We are up to 94 subscribers. I can't believe it. When I started doing this, it was just for fun, just something to do while I was recovering from surgery. Um, and now here we are, over 100 episodes in, and almost 100 subscribers. And I mean, yeah, there's way bigger channels out there, that are doing the same thing I'm doing. You know, so but I still think this is really cool that we've actually managed to get this far. So if you're not subscribed and you're watching this, by all means, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, helps grow the channel. Same thing with leaving a comment and hitting that like button. And if you like this sort of content, go ahead and hit the notification bell. You'll find out whenever I drop a new video, whether it's a Strategic Command video or one of the not so popular Star Wars Rebellion videos. So, and then I'm also thinking about, because of the announcement of Total War Medieval 3, I was actually thinking of revisiting Total War Medieval 2. There is a mod that has come, it's been out a while. I just recently discovered it, and it's called Vanilla Medieval. And basically, what it's supposed to do, it's supposed to overhaul the map, but still keep the original Medieval 2 mechanics. So I was interested in checking that out. Excuse me. Let me know what you think. All right. So thanks again, and I will see you on the next one.